Hey, what's up everybody? The second pickup capsule is here for July, and in this video I'm going to cover all 6 of the Tsums that are in this pickup capsule. I'm going to go over their skill and their animation with you, and just to give you some tips and tricks on which one you should go for. And if you're able to get all 15 copies of these Tsums from this pickup capsule and clear it out, you'll be able to get a skill ticket. And this skill ticket you could apply to any Tsums that you want, and you could save it too. So if you don't have any Tsums that you really want to level up right now, you would want to save that for a better Tsum in the future. But let's get into it and take a look at all 6 of the Tsums right now. The first one, we have Bride Jasmine. Second, we have Figaro. Third, we have Theatrical Mad Hatter. Fourth, we have Miguel. Fifth, we have Judy Hopps. And finally, we have Lumiere. So out of all 6 of these, there are a few that are pretty interesting. So the number 1 Tsum that I would recommend if you are trying to get a Tsum that is pretty good for coins, you'll want to go for Judy Hopps. Judy Hopps is pretty good for coins at skill level 6, but you do need to get her to a pretty high skill level. Bride Jasmine is pretty good for bubbles, and she's pretty productive of making coin bubbles. So if you need a Tsum that makes bubbles, then Bride Jasmine is a good option. And then if you just want a relatively fun Tsum to play around with, then Lumiere is also a fun one. So there's really, honestly, out of all 6 of these, there's really 2 that I would really recommend to get if you really need it, and that's Bride Jasmine and Judy Hopps. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the skill ticket at the very end, you probably wouldn't need any of these. I actually recommend you saving your coins for next month, because it's towards the end of the month. We're gonna know soon what we're gonna have next month. So if you're interested in seeing the August leaks and finding out what Tsums we're gonna have, maybe even what the events are gonna be, so stay tuned and scroll down and hit the subscribe button, because I will be covering that in a couple of days. It's likely the leaks are gonna come out on Tuesday, so just stay tuned for that. But for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at these Tsums individually. The first Tsum we have is Bride Jasmine from Aladdin, and her ability clears random Tsum Tsum in one go. And I currently have Bride Jasmine at skill level 3, so the blast radius is going to be skill range medium. So let's talk a little bit about Bride Jasmine's animation and what her ability actually does. And actually, I really enjoy Bride Jasmine's animation, so that's one cool thing about her ability, and her ability to make bubbles. So what happens is Aladdin and Jasmine comes together, they kiss, and then fireworks shoot up into the sky, or well, into the main screen. And then a bunch of areas or circles will pop. And during this part where it pops, there's a really good chance that bubbles are gonna be made. So depending on what skill level you have her at, that's gonna determine what kind of bubbles you're gonna make. And from this gameplay, I actually got some pretty good odds of getting time bubbles. So if you're looking for a good time bubble, then get Bride Jasmine to skill level 3. And the lower skill level you have her at, and it's kind of funny because that's actually gonna be better for you to get time bubbles, because the best odds to get a time bubble is between 9 to 12. And if you're looking for XP bubble, the best odds are going to be 13 to 15. And then for coin bubbles, you will need to get her to a higher skill level. Anywhere between 16 to 18 are better odds, but it actually generates coin bubbles starting at 13 chains to 20 chains. So for me, I was able to get a good amount of time bubbles in this gameplay. So if you're looking for a good time bubble maker, then Bride Jasmine might be a good one. And again, the animation's pretty cool. Like, you see all the fireworks shoot up and then it bursts and pops a bunch of bubbles. And at the end of this gameplay, Bride Jasmine at skill level 3, I was able to get 1,374 coins, which is okay for a skill level 3. It's not bad, but it's not good either. So there's definitely a lot of different Tsums out there that you could get for coins, but you would be getting Bride Jasmine for the purpose of making bubbles, and maybe an easier Tsum to get time bubbles. Next, we have Figaro from Pinocchio, and the ability description for Figaro is clears a horizontal line of Tsum Tsum and spawns special bubbles. So the first time me using Figaro was really interesting, because I saw this cat come out and then this kind of big bubble, and then a cool cat paw comes out and then bursts bubbles in the circle area. So when I first used Figaro, I thought that this little cat paw that came out and smashed the screen was super cool, just because I like cats, and I thought that this was really cool that this little paw came out and smashed the screen. I was actually taken by surprise that a cat paw came out and smashed the screen. So I like Figaro for the animation, but unfortunately Figaro isn't good for coins or really anything else outside of that. So for that reason, Figaro is not a zoom that I would recommend you to get if you don't have the coins saved up, so you can probably pass on this. At the end of the gameplay at skill level 3 for Figaro, I only got 1,106 coins. So not very good for coins, so you could probably pass on Figaro. Unless you really like cats and like the cool cat paw thing, then get one copy at least. Next, we have Theatrical Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. And his ability is clears lines of Tsum Tsum in 3 different directions. So this is very similar to those other Tsums that have 3 different like drop Tsums and maybe like a trident like thing. But his ability actually comes in like an X and then straight down the middle. So it's very similar to Lumiere's ability, and it's actually like the blast radius is almost identical. So what happens is it goes from the right and then the left and mixes X and then down the middle. So really the strategy to using this is you just want to make sure there's a lot of Tsums on the screen before you activate his ability. I do have Theatrical Mad Hatter at skill level 4, and his skill range is going to be large. So the higher you go, the bigger the ranges are going to be. And what that means is that the thickness of the actual lines are going to be bigger. So you'll blast more Tsums and get more coins that way. I only have him at skill level 4. I do like his ability animation, it's kind of cool. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Theatrical Mad Hatter's eyes are 2 different colors. That wasn't something I was actually noticing until I started editing a previous video on this character. So at the end of this gameplay for Theatrical Mad Hatter, I only got 1,687 coins at skill level 4. So I guess it's okay, but it's not good for coins, and from a usable standpoint, nothing you would really use Theatrical Mad Hatter for. Not great for bubbles, not good for chain, so really not going to be worth it unless you are a fan of Alice in Wonderland and would like to collect a Alice in Wonderland suit. Next we have Miguel from Coco, and the ability description for Miguel is he clears all Tsum Tsum in the center. I do have Miguel at skill level 3, and his skill range is going to be medium. Miguel's ability essentially is he plays the guitar and clears a bunch of Tsums from the bottom up in the center area. And so the strategy to using Miguel is just you want to make sure that the bottom center area has a lot of Tsums ready to be popped. If there's a gap there, then you're just essentially wasting a bunch of chains and a lot of coins. So you just want to make sure that the bottom area has a lot of coins before you play. So you don't need to play with gyro on for Miguel, and it's actually better if you don't play with it on, so that the Tsums will fall down faster when you do activate his ability. Miguel is not really great for any missions or anything like that. He is only one of the few characters that we have from Coco, so if you like the movie Coco, then maybe this is one that you would want to get. At skill level 3 at the end of this gameplay, I only got 1,204 coins for Miguel. So for that reason, not really great for coins, but could be fun or could be a good collection Tsum. So maybe you get at least one copy of him, but really not viable for missions and for coins. Next, we have Judy Hopps from Zootopia, and her ability description is time your taps carefully to clear the center of the field. And currently I have Judy Hopps at skill level 6, so the skill range is going to be extra large, and I almost have Judy Hopps maxed out here to level 50. And one of the cool things about Judy Hopps is it does take some skill and timing to use Judy Hopps. So this is one of those Tsums where it does require a little bit of skill, and it could be worth it if you do need a Tsum that earns you a lot of coins and somewhat requires some skill. So let me talk a little bit about what the animation is. So when you activate Judy Hopps' ability, what will happen is she will jump across the street, and you can see that the little lamp there will turn from green to red. So what you want to do is you actually want to turn on the audio so you can hear it. And if you play with the sound on, you can hear a cue that will tell you when to press it. But ultimately, right when the little street lamp turns from green to red, that's when you want to tap it. Tap it when the exclamation mark comes up or when you see the circle. Because what will happen is as the time progresses and you take longer to press that button, the circle will get smaller and smaller, which means your blast radius will get smaller and smaller as well. And if you are able to maximize your tap and time it properly, then the blast radius will be bigger, earning you more coins and more chains. So there is some skills involved in this, and also you can't really time it at the same time every single time, because what happens is this animation part, it does change. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's right away. So you just have to be really on it. And honestly, using Judy Hopps does give me a little sense of anxiety, but I really love it when I'm actually able to time it perfectly. And if you're able to time it perfectly, you'll actually hear claps and cheering in the actually background sounds. So turn on your audio when you are playing with Judy Hopps. At the end of the gameplay here at Judy Hopps for skill level 6, I was able to get 2,572 coins, so pretty viable at skill level 6, but there are better Tsums out there. You definitely don't need Judy Hopps, but if you're pretty close to leveling her up, then definitely go for it. And finally, we have Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast. So the ability description for Lumiere is that he will start fever time and clear Tsum Tsum at random. I do have Lumiere at skill level 6, so he will clear exactly 25 copies of Tsums on the screen. There is an exception. If you do have a big Tsum on the screen, then you'll get 29 because it adds additional 4 to whatever chain that you're going to get. Typically on average you should get 25. If you have 2 big Tsums on the screen, then you're definitely going to get more. You're going to get like 33. So like for example here, I'm going to get more than 25 because I had a big Dory there on the right hand side, so I got 29. But really the cool thing about Lumiere is that he will start a fever time. So what that means is if you are already in a fever time, then essentially it will count as 2 fever time. And just like right there, what you saw there, I wasn't in fever time, my bar wasn't fully charged, but I activated Lumiere and I quickly went into fever time. So there's 2 ways of playing this. You could wait until your fever bar is out and then quickly activate it, and what that will do is it'll give you extra 5 seconds. So you could play 2 ways. If you are trying to get a lot of fevers per game, then you would want to save it until you're already in fever, then activate it. But if you want to maximize more chains and more time, then you want to save your Lumiere till right when you are end of fever time, then activate it when your bar is not fully charged. So it's a shorter charge up time and getting you more than 5 seconds, or getting you that additional 5 seconds. At the end of this gameplay for Lumiere at skill level 6, I got 1,912 coins, so not that great. So really that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And stay tuned, I am going to have a leak video coming out soon, and that's going to cover all the Tsums in August and hopefully some of the missions too. So if you're interested in that, don't forget to scroll down and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And so stay tuned for that. I'm going to bring that to you guys as soon as possible. But for right now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.